Hello everyone, good morning and welcome back to Sports Today. We bring you this video to help you catch up with things that you might have missed out on whilst you were catching up on some all important sleep. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. And we've got a couple of big updates for you regarding the Zimbabwe-Sri Lanka-Pakistan tri-series. Now, you'd remember that we had reported last night that the Sri Lankan Cricket Board had in fact told Sri Lanka players that if you want to withdraw, you can, but there'll be a strict review put in place, which is basically in a way saying do it, but do it at your own risk. Amid that talk, there have been two major updates that have taken place. One is that the Zimbabwe players have indeed arrived in Pakistan for the tri-series, which means that despite there being a lot of uncertainty, it does seem like the entire series is going to go ahead as planned. And update number two is that the entire series has now been moved exclusively to Rawalpindi. So there's not going to be any traveling within the major cities of Pakistan. All games are going to be played at Rawalpindi. That's the major update from that particular series. And obviously, given the fact that there's a terrorist attack that has taken place, it is something of a developing story. So stay tuned to Sports Today. We will give you more updates on that as and when it comes about. Another thing which has been talked about a lot have been trade deals ahead of the IPL retention deadline. And one team who seemed to have suddenly become particularly active in the trade market, Mumbai Indians. They're targeting two particular players according to a lot of rumors that are doing the rounds. One of them, and both of them, by the way, are actually ex-MI players. One of them is Mayank Markande and the other is Rahul Chahar. Chahar is currently a part of the SRH camp, and it seems a given that he'd probably be cut from the squad. Mayank Markande too barely played a game for KKR last year and was operating pretty much exclusively as a backup spinner. So it seems likely that one or both of them, depending on how much wiggle room MI have in their trade window, in their budgets, well, it seems like it could be a homecoming for at least one or two of them. Remember, both of them have played for MI in the past. And another player who there has been a deal about, or rather there have been a lot of rumors once again in MI itself, has been the potential trade away of Arjun Tendulkar to Lucknow Super Giants for Shardul Thakur. Now, it would be a homecoming of sorts for Shardul, not because he's ever played for MI. I don't think he has, if my memory serves me right. But, of course, he is a Mumbai player and getting the chance to turn up for his home franchise. But the deal is not actually going to be a straight swap. They would be seen as separate deals, which means there would be all cash deals for both of the players. And speaking of this particular deal, R. Ashwin seemingly got into just a little bit of trouble for this particular deal because he ended up confirming it on his YouTube channel that the trade is done, it's happened, and it was part of a video which has since been deleted. But you know the internet, it lives on forever. So the clip is now being widely circulated saying that Ashwin pretty much leaked MI's major trade deal. Obviously, news reports had already surfaced by the point, so it's not like he was spoiling anything for those who didn't know. But there would have been a lot of people who were A, not aware, and B, the fact that he clipped it shows that he either took preemptive action or someone reached out to him saying, listen, can we remove that part from your video, please? Pretty funny. And stay tuned to Sports Today. We'll have that clip up for you very, very shortly. More cricket news, and this time international. New Zealand have in fact sealed the T20I series that they were playing up against West Indies 3-1 in the fourth T20I. Jacob Duffy ended up having a magnificent spell that the West Indians couldn't quite cope with, and therefore New Zealand are the victors in this particular series. Obviously, this is a major series in terms of the context of the next World Cup, which is the T20 World Cup. And New Zealand are one of those sides who we always say are dark horses. They tend to not come in as fancied favourites, but they can and will more often than not punch above their weight. So the fact that they're beating the West Indies, two-time world champions, in this very format should in itself tell you that they might very well be seen as serious contenders if certain factors go their way. Switching focus now from the world of cricket to the world of sports beyond that, and Portuguese superstar Cristiano Ronaldo has in fact told Ireland fans that they should boo him ahead of Thursday's World Cup qualifier in Dublin. Now, obviously Ronaldo is someone who gets mixed reactions, and the fact that he's urging them to boo will pretty much ensure that that's going to happen. But again, it's seemingly a bit of a masterstroke from Ronaldo where he said, listen, I only want them to do that so that it takes the focus away from other players and then the other players can flourish. Could be smart, could backfire, who really knows. Ireland last time did manage to hold Portugal though, so this could be a very tricky match. Yes, Portugal would start favourites, but let's not count out the Irish side either. Focusing more on Indian football now, and there was a meeting, you'd remember, between the AIFF and ISL stakeholders as the future of Indian football's domestic flight, or the domestic top flight, as well as the subsequent divisions, continues to be up in limbo. And it was a meeting that ended up getting boycotted by the AIFF's top brass, or rather the I-League's top brass. The reason for that is very, very simple, because the I-League teams were informed at the last minute. The 8 I-League clubs had actually convened in New Delhi for a meeting, and they were told at the very last minute, about 3 hours before the meeting, they listen, come join us. And they said that's not going to be possible. We have nothing prepared, and they've even written an open letter to the federation. It's a big story, and we'll have the details of all of those things for you up on Sports Today very, very shortly. But as I said, and it just continues the limbo that Indian football finds itself in, because there's still no solution in sight. Despite all these meetings, all these talks, all these open letters, the simple fact is there's no real solution in sight, and there won't be for quite some time as things stand. Switching focus now, and some more interesting news, this time more positive news really if you're an Indian sport fan. India secured 3 medals in the compound archery events in Dhaka, which was, of course, they won the women's team gold, they won the mixed teams gold, and they also finished runners-up in the men's event, which means they won a silver medal there. So good showing really from the archery side. And in fact, compound archery is something that Indians do tend to do much better at. It is recurve, which has always been the stumbling block. So good on the athletes for continuing their good run when it comes to this version of the sport. Lakshya Sen news as well, and unfortunately he's been someone who's been in the news for the wrong reasons most times, because his performances in top tournaments, in top badminton tournaments, haven't quite been up to scratch. But the good news is he's made it to the quarterfinals of the men's singles competition at the Kumamoto Masters, Japan. So if he can have a decent run there, maybe win the title, potentially could get him back in rhythm for the upcoming season, because again 2025 has by and large been a calendar year to forget for Lakshya. More racket sports news, but this time focusing on tennis. Yannick Sinner has reached the last 4 of the ATP finals with a game to spare after he beat Alexander Zverev 6-4, 6-3. So he's into the top 4. And once again, a lot of people have been talking about that potentially the ATP finals could be a simple showdown between Sinner and Alcaraz. Does seemingly look like it's going to be that way so far. But what are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below, and thank you all for joining us in this video. As always, if you enjoy our work, like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, X and Facebook, and stay tuned for more such updates from the world of sport.